Hello, folks. Hope you're doing all right. Welcome to Stay Well with Dr. Zorba Pastor.
That's me.
He's right there.
I'm right here. I'm right here. Flesh and blood.
Flesh and blood.
Not virtual. I
No.
am not AI either.
Yeah.
That's right. I am a non-AI person. Well, I do use AI, but
Yeah.
I'm real.
He's real. That's what he's trying to say, folks. He is real. He just had a snack, too. He had a little snack session there. It was nice. He had a little biscotti.
Yeah, I had a little biscotti, had a few calories.
Little espresso.
Had my caffeine.
Yeah.
I've got everything. I'm all set up. I am raring to go.
You're raring to go. I'm Carl Christensen. I'm sitting across the desk from Dr. Zorba Pastor. He's ready. And I'm going to forego our little banter here because we got a big show here. I'm going to just jump right into this. What
Sounds
we're going to do.
great.
I'm really excited. We have a real treat today, Zorba. We're going to talk to a James Beard nominated guest chef.
Right.
And who's a fan of our podcast. He's going to walk us through one of his favorite recipes, crispy fried tofu with caviar and creme fraiche.
That's right. That's
Did I
right.
say that right?
And supposedly, from the information that I have, it's something that even Tom Clark might eat. Now, that is hard to believe that you could actually make a tofu recipe that Tom Clark would actually eat. And you know what? If this recipe is as good as he thinks, then I'm going to make it and give it to Tom Clark.
Yeah.
And we might actually record his reaction.
Now, that would be something.
And then put it on the website and see whether or not he actually thinks it's good.
I want to see that.
But I love tofu.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it. A James Beard nomination is a big, big thing.
It's a big
It is
deal.
like the Academy Award, just getting nominated, like getting nominated for the Academy Award of Restaurants. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say.
For sure. I'm excited about that. And speaking about food, we are going to look at some new research on how the Mediterranean diet may significantly reduce your risk of stroke.
That's right. We've talked about the Med diet for years, how important it is. This is research that also shows, again, that the Mediterranean diet is the healthy diet that we should be eating.
That's right.
And at the same time, we should move to the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, sure.
We should swim
I'm all for that.
in the Mediterranean Sea. And we should sit there with our drink. I was just going to say pina colada, but I'm mixing like metaphors.
that doesn't make
I don't
sense.
think they serve pina coladas on the Mediterranean Sea. But anyway, the diet. If you can't go to the Mediterranean Sea, at least you can eat like somebody who lives on the Mediterranean Sea.
Perfect.
In the blue zones.
In the blue zones. I'm for it. We're going to get to some listener emails and a listener voicemail. And if you have a question, you want to leave a voicemail for the good doc, you can call 608-492-9292.
And remember, email me. I love answering those emails. AskDrZorba@gmail.com. Spell it out. AskDrZorba@gmail.com. And of course, I've got a website, drzorba.org.
Zorba, let's jump right into our healthy living topic. A new study that shows following the Mediterranean diet, your favorite diet. We've talked about it a lot.
Absolutely. I've been talking.
Now we're talking about stroke risk, maybe reducing that.
So I've been talking about the Med diet for years. There was a landmark study done a number of years ago looking at that time, the typical American Heart Association cardboard diet, which nobody could follow, compared it to the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet, hands over from a heart disease point of view, was a much better diet to prevent heart disease. Well, this is sort of a follow-up of that diet and looking at, and by the way, people ask me, well, what's in the Mediterranean diet? Well, the Mediterranean diet is rich in olive oil, nuts, seafood, whole grain, vegetables. If you have a question about it, go to Google it. There are lots of books on the Mediterranean diet. People would say, well, where do I start? And the answer is start with going to your local bookstore or online to Amazon, get a Mediterranean beginner's diet, and start cooking that way. Well, neurology, a recent neurology study that was published by the American Academy of Neurology looked at the reduction in stroke with the Mediterranean diet. So when the study started out in a hospital and medical center called the City of Hope Comprehensive Cancer Center and Medical Center in California.
Okay,
it's a very good study. The study involved 105,000 women at the average age in their 50s. No history of stroke.
Okay.
So good study. So the participants were basically given a score of how closely they followed a Mediterranean diet, and they were followed up in years, with questionnaires. You're eating whole grains and cereals, fruits and vegetables, legumes, olive oil, and then how much alcohol you're drinking. Moderate amount was basically a drink a day. if they were a drink a day, if they had 2 drinks every so often, that was still considered a moderate amount. Then they also asked them how much red meat they were actually eating and dairy products. And once again, they were looking at how closely they followed a Mediterranean diet. They followed these women for the next 2 decades. So you've got a lot of strength in this. And 90% of the women actually followed the study. And lo and behold, it turned out that they were 25% less likely to have something called an ischemic stroke. That's the most common stroke we have, if they were following a Mediterranean diet.
That's something.
25%?
That's significant. 25%.
I think that's a big issue. Now, stroke is sort of interesting, versus heart attacks. You get a heart attack, then you may get a stent pushed in, put in. Of course, heart attacks are a leading cause of death. But stroke are a leading cause of disability. And so getting a stroke, you may die from a stroke. Many people do. It's the number 3 cause of death in this country. But it's a major cause of disability. So anything to reduce stroke risk is important. We know that taking high blood pressure medications to get your blood pressure as close to really 120/80 is a great way to reduce your risk of stroke. We know that eating an appropriate diet is also a great way, and this is showing the Mediterranean diet is the diet we should be on. So, we've got the new food pyramid that came out that actually showed that we should be eating more beef. The answer is no. We should be eating more fish. We should not be eating more beef. We should not be, the new food pyramid says you could actually be, frying your food in beef tallow. No. You should be using olive oil for basically the oil that you're doing. The med diet is still spectacular at reducing heart attacks. And this long-term study also shows it reduces the risk of stroke. So my question for you, Carl, is...
I'm on the spot.
What's on your plate this evening?
What are we having? Something from the Mediterranean diet. I got salmon. I got salmon in the freezer. I can thaw that out and cook up some salmon tonight.
Right.
That sounds great.
What are you going to serve with it?
Some kind of vegetable. I don't know. Maybe Brussels sprouts. Does that go with
Brussels
salmon?
Sprouts are great. Any kind of vegetable.
Okay.
Any kind of vegetable is good. The whole point is, think about it. You're going to serve a vegetable. You didn't immediately say, I'm going to store out some beef in the freezer. Of course, I did prime you. But when you looked at a vegetable, you didn't look at a potato. A baked potato is good, but you didn't look at, we're going to do tater tots.
Right.
Instead of tater tots, we're going to do Brussels sprouts. Way to go.
Well, tater tots don't go with salmon, do they? The kids would say yes. The kids would...
Come on. From a kid's point of view, tater tots go with everything but cereal.
I love it. So med diet, thumbs up, as usual, from Zorba.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's really important. And the fact is, we've got to think in a more Mediterranean diet way that we're eating because we want to reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. There are just many advantages to doing this. And yes, it does cost some more money to have fruits and vegetables that are fresh, that are not, if you will, ultra-processed. But if you shop on a more regular basis, then you're not going to lose your perishables, which tend to perish. And if you look at the amount of food that you throw out in the garbage, and you measure that, you can see how shopping maybe twice a week or 3 times a week may be the answer, or getting frozen food, which is better than canned food, which actually is better than perishables that have lost their to-do date.
If you have a question for the good doc, you can call this number anytime. This is the
Anytime.
hotline.
Anytime.
608-492-9292.
And remember, you can email me. I promise not to answer it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Ask Dr. Zorba at gmail.com. That's Ask Dr. Zorba, spell it out, at gmail.com. And we've got a website, drzorba.org. You can see pictures of Carl, pictures of me, and other good information.
And your articles are up there, too.
Yeah,
your healthy
all
living
the
articles. A lot of good stuff
Lots
there.
of good articles.
All right, Zorba. This is exciting. We've been getting a lot of feedback from listeners, and they've been asking for more recipes on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So we're going to do...
I love food.
You do love food.
I love food.
Yep,
I love food.
We're going to do just that. So thanks, listeners, for the requests. We're going to bring in a special guest chef right now.
Woo!
Yeah, this is Danny Calleros. He's the executive chef at Ardovino's Desert Crossing, and this is in Sunland Park, New Mexico. He was recently nominated for a James Beard Award for Best Chef Get this, best chef in the Southwest region.
Wow.
So the James, you know this, just for our listeners, you know this stuff, but the James Beard in the food world is kind of like the Oscars, or it's totally, a big deal.
Totally. Big deal. Biggie.
So this is this place is this recognition places him among best chefs in the Southwest region is Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Nevada. That's a lot of good food down there.
Lots of good food.
So this is no small feat.
It's a biggie.
Yeah. So I'm pumping up Danny here. Chef Danny, welcome to the podcast.
Buenos dias. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dzień dobry.
Yeah.
Hello, Carl. Hello, Dr. Zorba.
It's good talking with you. First of all, you must have been so excited when you were nominated. Tell me about it.
I was very kind of like shocked, and I was feeding the cats at the moment, and I was like, "What?" One of my good friend chefs, Gabe Morales, texted me and he said, "Congratulations!" And I was like, "What did I do?" and then before he could send me the picture, my boss called me and then told me the news, and it was shocking. It was shocking, but
of course.
It was unexpected and it was very nice.
But how wonderful. I mean, that means that, however they give the award, they go and they actually go and eat at at your restaurant. They look at the food, they eat the food, they look at everything that's been plated. That means there was a secret shopper there.
Is that how it works?
It's not, they taste the food.
Right. But
how
they're
else
secret.
Are you gonna do
it's
it?
kind of secretive thing.
Well, you think they come in and they go, "We're from the James Beard Award and we want to taste your food"? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Oh yeah. And we're expecting them to come back again because we're seeing if I'm going to make it to the final selection.
So how long have you been doing this? Tell me a little bit about the history, how you got into chefing and...
Well, I started at 16. I was a dishwasher for a local Mexican restaurant called La Cuesta that was owned by the culinary teacher who got me. He said, "If you want to be culinary and you want to be a chef, I'll get you a job." And he got me washing dishes. They gave me a lot of discipline. He told me I had to learn. I got to start from the bottom and work my way up. And they gave me a lot of structure in my career.
So how do you come up with your recipes? I mean, we're going to do crispy fried tofu with caviar and creme fraiche, which just sounds delicious. And how do you come up with a recipe like that?
Well, I do want to say that this recipe is so good that Tom Clark would eat it and enjoy it. But the thing is, you can't tell him that it's tofu until after he's done.
Yeah, we gotta. Speaking of secrets, just spring this on him.
And also, you have just identified yourself as a long-term listener to our show because we're out of El Paso. And if you're talking about Tom Clark, who's older than I am, that means you've been listening for years. That is really cool.
Yeah, I've been listening for a while, and it's like. It's such a. I told Carl it's a dream. This is my dream.
Oh wow!
That I wanted to do.
Oh, that is so. Oh, makes me feel so good. It even makes Carl feel good because he's
smiling.
He's smiling. That's hard to get you to smile.
Oh, really?
Not at all. That's really, come on. Hard to get you to smile. All
smiling.
you have to do is say smile.
Yeah, then I'm in. I'm easy.
Then you smile.
This recipe. So I come up with a lot of ideas, asking myself like, what should I create? It's like, but what do I want to eat?
Oh,
and that's what I tell my chefs. It's like they're struggling to come up with an idea or be unique or be original. But it's like, ask yourself what do you want to eat? Because you know better than anybody else.
Wow.
Because you have a profession. It's like asking an engineer, what bridge I want to build. It's like, no, it's like, what's the best bridge that you want to build?
It's really analogous, to any other kind of invention. Of course, with food, you've got this, this broad thing. So Tom Clark, I have to make this.
Can you deliver some of this to Tom Clark?
I got to give it to Tom.
That'd be great.
And tell him you've got to taste it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm actually going to do that in the future. I promise. Yeah. So let's go into the recipe. So I'm just going to, mention what we need, and then we're going to go through the ingredients. You need a couple of medium-sized bowl, a sieve, a strainer. You need a whisk, and you need a pot with oil. And it's got to be 350 degrees. So anyone who listens has to do this, has to have a thermometer that goes in the pot, right? I mean, that's critical when it comes to frying.
Yes and no.
Which is the yes and which is the no?
The yes, like if you want to be a textbook home cook, get a thermometer. But, you can learn how to fry things without a thermometer, just having that intuition and that
Yes,
common
yes,
sense of not
yes.
doing too hot. If it's smoking, if your oil is smoking, it's too hot.
That's right. So generally, what kind of oil do you use? Just a vegetable oil, or what do you use to fry? What's the oil that you like to use, or
The
does it
most
matter?
common that you'll find
Hmm.
in the grocery stores that's affordable is canola. The best one's peanut, but peanut's so expensive. And, like you can have the blends like vegetable, but, those are the most economically best choices to fry stuff.
Okay, the ingredients: a block of tofu. How much tofu? And it says frozen and thawed. What do you mean by that?
So one block of tofu, it has to be firm, or even extra firm. And then by freezing the tofu, so you put the tofu in the package in the freezer, it just pushes out all the water because the
Oh,
tofu is like, it has a lot of water. So when it freezes, it pushes all the water out, and when you thaw it out, you're gonna get this very dry,
oh, wow.
firm, yeah, like the texture you eat it, and it's kind of grainy. You're like, this is not very good. And then, but trust the process. Trust the process. It's gonna come out.
I
Yeah.
have to tell you. So for years, I've been making mapo tofu, and I get extra firm, but it tends to still fall apart when I'm tossing it. I had no idea. This is
Me too. Can I jump in? I love frying just little cubes of tofu in oil in a pan. And for years, the hardest part about it is like getting the paper towels and just squeezing all that water out of it. There's so much in there. It's
so you
never
freeze
dry.
it and then you
I've
thought.
never heard of
So
this.
do you freeze it like in? You freeze it open air? Is that how you when
I
you
put
put?
it in the package,
Hmm.
from the grocery store.
Yeah.
Shove it just, like a softball. Just take it and just throw it into the freezer. You know,
Like a
and
softball.
then the
Bang.
next day, yeah, and then the next day, just pull it out. Thaw it. You can open the package once it's fully thawed, and I don't even press it. Like at the restaurant,
Oh,
I
great.
don't press it. It sits there for in this little colander for like 30 minutes while I make all the other items, and
I have to tell you, you've just changed our lives. Carl is
I can't believe it.
smiling.
I'm
He
shocked.
can't believe it. He's actually learned
I can't
something on the
wait to,
show.
to make tofu
It's pretty
again
rare.
using
That's right.
this.
You can
Yeah.
do it again. I'm
Yeah.
going to say, okay, we use 1 cup of cornstarch, 1 tablespoonful of baking powder, 4 large egg yolks, 5 ounces of sparkling mineral water like Topo Chico, and we'll use some ice cubes. Okay, so let's go through the process. So you take the tofu, you thaw it out, and you cut it into bite-sized pieces. Do you then put it in that way in the colander, or do you let the block fit it in the colander?
I cut it into bite-sized pieces, and then I just let it drip dry.
Okay.
It's not going to fully dry. It's just going to, just like any excess liquid, just going to come out.
So then you season it. So tell us about, you wrote down my secret but not so secret blend. So what do you put on the tofu?
Well, here's when everyone can shine on their own,
I like
and you
it.
can season it however you like. What I enjoy most is watching my girlfriend cook, Priscilla,
Of
because
course.
she is a seasoned master. She starts adding this and that, and I just
Uh-huh.
stand back and I'm like, wow, those are combinations I would never think of. They work. And then the cool seasoning that I put in together is MSG, nutritional yeast, some lemon pepper,
Mm-hmm.
Old Bay,
Uh-huh.
and remember that those already have some kind of salt. I do a
Right.
little bit of salt and pepper
Right.
and some more garlic powder. And it's kind of dry, so when you add it to your tofu,
Mm-hmm.
it adheres to the moist tofu, firm tofu, so it just kind of like sticks onto there. So
I love this combination, by the way. And Old Bay is a wonderful, wonderful seasoning. Okay, so you
yeah,
put that down. So in a bowl, explain what you do. 6 to 8 ice cubes, and then you pour the egg yolks and mineral water. Tell me about this.
okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your frozen cubes
Mm-hmm.
into the bowl. You're gonna add your egg yolk.
Uh-huh.
If you're having whole eggs, whip it up,
Mm-hmm.
or the whole egg yolks. Whip up your egg yolks a tiny bit, break them up,
Mm-hmm.
and then add in your mineral water and gently stir, and you're kind of making like a egg yolk mineral water cocktail, just very light.
Got it.
Don't drink it.
Got it.
Might not be very good. On the rocks.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the
and
rocks. Got it.
and it's gonna be foam a little bit. It's gonna fizz. So just gently stir, and then just set aside for a moment. And then the reason for the frozen cubes is because you want that liquid to be ice
Okay.
cold.
So that is critical, ice cold. Then in the second bowl, the dry ingredients, flour and baking powder. And then with your strainer, so with your strainer over the dry ingredients, pour the liquids into the dry and then whisk it. Do you keep lumps in there as you're whisking it, or you want to make it totally smooth?
I submitted to this one is that there's an alternative, so you can add flour, which is half a cup, but we're doing the cornstarch one that's gluten free, so it's vegetarian gluten free. So and that'll answer your lump question.
Got
So
it.
with cornstarch, you won't really
right.
have lumps because it's such a fine. And then with flour, you might have a tiny bit of lump, but that's okay. Like as long as you don't have like a huge marble sized lump, like break that one up.
When you make this, if you don't have somebody who's gluten free, you use flour. That's your Is that your preference over cornstarch?
The flour one's delicious. The flour one's the crispy batter is airy and light and has a little bit more give, but the cornstarch one is crunchy, and you can fry it much longer. So you don't have to worry about it kind of getting too dark, and it stays crunchier longer. Cornstarch is amazing.
I'm gonna try both of these. And then you put it in the oil and you fry it until it's golden brown and delicious. Generally that takes how much time to tell our listeners?
In the fryer, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes.
3 to 4 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And you look at it, just like pancakes. You look at it.
It's like an eyeball thing. You just gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyeball it. That's right.
Yeah.
And then you put it on.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're the chef. I'm interrupting
say
you.
Yes. Zorba should say yes, chef, right now. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Chef Zorba has a great ring to it. Chef Zorba.
Maybe you'll start a restaurant someday, Zorba.
I was going to say, one of the things that I teach the chefs is to listen. Listen when they're cooking, because that's a great indicator of when items are done. And when something that's cooking an ingredient, if like for when we're frying, you throw something in hot oil that's a little moist and it's loud and it's steamy and it's making all this noise. And then as long as you pay attention to what's happening, you have your back turned and you're like, wait, I don't hear the fryer anymore. That means it's probably burnt.
Right. It's probably burnt. Wow. I hadn't thought about that with frying things as I fry them to listen. I'm stuck on vision and not on sound. So I'm going to have to do that as I'm frying certain things. I happen to like, there's certain things that I happen to like that I fry. And so I'm going to start listening more. Of course, my wife Penny of 50 years always said I never listen enough anyway. But that's a whole other that's a whole other story. And then you finish it with little flaky salt, and then when you plate it, tell me how you plate this now.
The fun part is when you have the music, the chef music going on in the background.
I got it. Okay.
And then you're doing all your you're grabbing your tweezers and all that. So you get your favorite plate.
Yeah.
And then what you want to display on, you pop in your little tofu chicken nuggets. And then now that they're well seasoned, make sure to sneak one in before you plate it, so that way it's perfect.
Yeah, right.
Crunchy, well seasoned.
Right, of course.
And then now that you have your tofu chicken nuggets on the plate, you're going to dollop each one individually with a little bit of creme fraiche.
Oh, okay.
Or sour cream. If you don't have creme fraiche, sour cream is just, or yogurt.
Sure.
You just want that fatty kind of acidic tart to kind of balance
I love it.
the fried. And then here comes the main ingredient is the caviar. We're actually making this dish for our Valentine's Day menu this Saturday, but we're not going to use caviar because it's so expensive that we're actually using salmon roe.
Oh, salmon roe, because I wrote that down here, because salmon roe is affordable, right?
Yeah, half the price.
Yeah,
super delicious and very much bigger caviar, so you get more caviar, in your bite, and it's beautiful. It's like this gorgeous orange.
I love it. I love it.
It sounds wonderful.
Oh, no, sounds
really
more than
hungry.
wonderful. I am going to make this. We're going to put pictures on there. I'm going to make it. We're going to come back. This is an amazing recipe. I've also learned a lot from you, Chef Danny.
Thank you.
So I'd love to do this again sometime with something else because I've learned a couple of tricks with my cooking. I love to cook. It's like, I have
tofu
4
trick's
kids.
amazing.
And I love the tofu, but I just love listening to the sound of the oil.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought about that with everything, and that makes a lot of sense. And I can see why you were nominated for the James Beard Award from the way you think about things and how you think about food and I'm kind of blown away. It's great.
Thank you. I'm blown away. I thought I was going to have stage fright over the phone. phone fright.
Phone fright.
Phone fright.
I've got to get down to that area, the El Paso area that I've never been
Please.
to. I have
We
to come
have
down.
wonderful Airbnbs that you can stay on the property, and then once you're ready to eat, you just hop out of your Airbnb trailer, Airstream,
Really?
and then
Ooh,
you
they got
walk right
Airstreams?
over.
You've got
Oh, yeah.
Airstream Airbnbs
Oh, those are
on the
great.
property.
With jacuzzis.
Whoa.
With
Jacuzzis.
All right.
Oh, I've got it.
I'm booking a ticket now.
Yeah,
Yeah, what are you waiting for? I'll see you tonight for dinner.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. It's a wonderful recipe, and I'm sure our listeners, we have lots of listeners that are going to learn a lot. We have people who love food, and you have shared some wonderful. Chef Danny, you have shared a lot, and thank you, and I hope you get the award. The nomination itself is an award in itself, so thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Well, I'm sorry.
I love
Hi,
it.
Tom.
I love
Hi,
it.
Mom.
It's like, hi,
Thank
Tom.
you, Carl.
That's right.
Thank you, Zorba.
I love it. Thank you, Chef. Appreciate it. And you know something? We're going to continue because I'm going to make the recipe. I'm going to post it on the Facebook page. I'm going to do it in a few weeks. Well,
Yeah, you'll
I'm doing
post
it soon.
Zorba's going to
I'm
post
gonna
it,
do it
and then
soon.
people can comment on
that's
it
right.
and tag
It's
you.
100,
Yeah,
100%. But I'm going to use salmon roe. That's what I'm going to use.
You're
for
not
that.
doing real caviar,
And fish.
right?
No.
No,
What's the
salmon
point?
roe is the way to go. It's affordable.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Chef.
Thanks, Chef Danny.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too. Take care. That was Chef Danny Calleros, the executive chef at Ardovino's Desert Crossing in Sunland Park, New Mexico. And that was a recipe for, what was it called again?
Crispy fried tofu with caviar and creme fraiche. And among other things, we're going to have him on again because look at what we learned in the process of the recipe that I didn't expect to learn. First of all, freeze your tofu.
When he was mentioning the freeze your tofu, both of us, if there was video of our
Yeah, that's
podcast,
right.
our jaws
It's
were
like
on the ground.
our
We were like,
jaws
we've both
dropped,
never heard of this before.
Listen to your oil.
Yeah.
Listen to your oil and what will make you happy when you're making something, a different thing. And then I love the fact that his girlfriend uses certain things. When she makes
Spices,
this, it's
yeah.
great. And he has a series of spices, and that's kind of the way it is. And I know when I got into cooking. It was when I lived in Chicago with a bunch of other friends. There were 5 of us in an apartment, and then roughly once a week, we'd cook for each other. It wasn't competitive, but it was competitive, right?
Yeah.
You're making this, I'm going to make this. And I discovered that cooking is a wonderful way to go. Do you know how much money you save by cooking?
A lot. Yeah. And it's just healthier.
It's healthy. You
Yeah.
know what's going into it. This is a great recipe. And when I make it at some point, I'm going to have to get time to eat it. I don't know I'm not going to tell him what's on it with the caviar, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to make it sometime, bring it to us and see whether or not Tofu Tom.
I think he'll eat it. All
So
right.
remember, call our number 608-492-9292. Email askdrzorba@gmail.com and come to our website, drzorba.org. Just Coffee Cooperative is a worker-owned, fair trade, and organic coffee roasting cooperative in Madison, Wisconsin, dedicated to a model of commerce based on transparency, respect for labor, and environmental sustainability.
That's right, Zorba. And we both love their coffee, and we drink it all the time.
Absolutely.
One ingredient, no flavors, no additives, just coffee.
Use code ZORBA10 for 10% off your entire order on their website, www.justcoffee.coop. Just Coffee Cooperative. Justice from the grounds up.
Okay, let's take a listener email. This is from Jane, who writes, "Hi, Dr. Zorba and Carl. I love listening to your show, and I'm extremely grateful for your science-based approach."
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I have Barrett's esophagus and heard a caller mention the TIF procedure, and you reinforced the importance of PPIs on the next show. I had a Nissen fundoplication done, but it left the opening loose. There's a new procedure where they somehow divide the lower esophageal sphincter so the reflux goes into a pouch and the other half is routed near the end of the small intestine. Would you recommend this new procedure? I've had so many ablations, right? Since the Nissen, I don't have GERD symptoms, but I have a stomach that is attacking my esophagus. Thank you. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think you pronounced that very well.
Except the ablation, I kind of...
Nissen fundoplication. I mean, you could go to medical school. You know what we say? If
Give
you
me my
can pronounce the words, you can do, the procedure. So basically, let's look at what GERD is. So GERD is where acid is sloshing from your stomach into your lower esophagus. If you've got GERD, at night when people lay down, for instance, they can get it. It can be extremely uncomfortable. I periodically have GERD. I take a PPI almost every day because, and especially if I eat later at night, then it can slash in my stomach and it hurts it. Barrett's esophagitis, basically it's an inflammation of the lower part of the esophagus, is a risk factor for cancer of the esophagus. It's not a one-to-one by any means. It's a risk factor. So the idea is reduce the acid in the lower esophagus. So we give a PPI like Prilosec or a PPI like an H2 blocker like famotidine. And for a lot of people, that works really well. Some people, it doesn't. And so what we do is we go to procedures to try to make that tighter so the acid is not sloshing up. Something called the Nissen fundoplication is one way of sort of tightening that area around the bottom of the stomach. The TIP procedure is a way of sort of taking the valve and trying to restructure the valve. And the newer procedure she's talking about is a variation thereof. So when it comes to newer procedures, I don't like to be the first person on the block.
Okay.
And I also don't want to be in the doctor's, I don't want the doctor to do it who has done less than 20 of them.
Makes sense.
The data seems to show the first 20 procedures have the highest risk. So I like to go, how many have you done? What's the procedure? What's the outline? And what do you have? Now, if she's still having symptoms, then the question is, what is she doing from a point of view of eating? So you don't want to eat within 2 hours of laying down at night. So you want to have an earlier supper, before you go to sleep. Have you raised the head of the bed? Can you sleep while the head of the bed is raised 10 or 15 degrees? If you can do that, that once again allows acid to flow down. It's not as likely to slosh up. You want to look at all of the lifestyle things you can do to take care of that. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're taking the PPI the right way. On an empty stomach in the morning. Dose number 1, 20 minutes before anything else. On an empty stomach in the evening, 20 or 30 minutes before you eat. Twice a day for many of them. Double the dose that's even recommended from an RX point of view. That may work too. Add famotidine to it. A number of physicians don't do that. That's an H2 blocker. It works differently. If all of those fail, then you look at the surgical procedures. And that's kind of the way I would bird dog this. And then if you have a question, you get a second opinion. So you find out who's, if in your insurance company, where you can get a second opinion, preferably somebody that's 100 miles away that doesn't know the gastroenterologist or surgeon that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. So instance, for some insurance companies, you can't go 100 miles away or 50 miles away, but you'd like to go to somebody who doesn't know the surgeon who is doing the procedure because they're more likely to give you a robust second opinion on what they would do. That's how you begin to bird dog and figure out how you're going to make a decision for your body, yourself.
What great advice, Dr. Zorba. And thanks for that email, Jane. Let's go to a voicemail now. Should we do a voicemail?
I like it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact you called me Dr. Zorba. That was great.
You just fired off some amazing advice right there. I was impressed.
You gave it. I like it. I feel really good. I'm glowing right now. I've got a little glow around me.
All right. This is a voicemail from Fish Creek, Wisconsin.
Hi, Dr. Zorba. I'm a longtime listener to your podcasts, and I'd like to run something by you because there's an issue that nobody can figure out. I've been to an ENT a number of times. I've seen my primary physician. I've had 2 sinus CAT scans, 1 brain MRI. And the issue is when I lay down, I have a recurring pressure that is in my sinus area, like behind my nose on both sides, and it doesn't go away. Now, I've read on Dr. Google that there might be some blood rushing up, but so I'd like to just pass this by you and see if you have any ideas or how I should proceed. Thank you for everything you do.
Very nice.
That was nice.
Thank you so much. Dr. Google often has some information, and Dr. AI will also give you information and misinformation.
What about Dr. Pepper?
You're
naming some real doctors here.
Dr. Pepper. That's
just want to throw in my
what
favorite doctor.
What if my name were Pepper instead of Pastor? I'm Dr. Pepper.
What about Dr. Acula? That's just Dracula, right?
That's
Do you know how that works?
Yeah. No, you know what? You know what? It's your mom joke.
That's a Mitch Hedberg joke.
But getting back to this, there can be some serious things here, and there can be some things that are not serious. So first of all, not everything shows up when you're doing a CAT scan or an MRI scan. I believe he said he had a CAT scan. I don't know if he had an MRI scan. But some things show up. There are false positives and false negatives. In other words, it may not show anything, but you may indeed have inflammation of the sinuses that are causing this. So, there are a couple of things that we don't have on here that I think are important. First of all, he lays down what has he tried in terms of nasal sprays. What I would do is you can get an over-the-counter steroid nasal spray. I would double the dose of Flonase, 2 squirts in the morning. I would actually quadruple the dose. 2 squirts in the morning, 2 squirts in the evening in each nostril. Lay down on the back to try to get that up into the eustachian tube. That's in the back of the nose. When you blow your nose and you pop your ear, that's basically going through the tube. And that may get into your sinuses. I would try that, number one. If that failed, I would then try Astapro. Astapro is a different nasal spray. There is no generic equivalent. It is a topical antihistamine nasal spray that does things differently. I've been very interested in how it may reduce the risk of COVID. So I would try the Astapro. If that fails, in other words, I would just try this before going anywhere else, then I would get a second opinion, and I would go to a tertiary care center. I would go to, once again, within where I can go, within my insurance, and I would go to the ENT department and say, these are my problems. If you're on Epic, Epic is the electronic healthcare record, a company in our area, which is the number one company in the country. And if you're on, if he has gone to an organization that at Epic, and then you go to a tertiary care center, they can look at all the other imaging studies and see what it is. Sometimes this actually is due to a serious, something called an AV malformation, arterioventricular, atrial vein malformation between an artery and a vein, which actually can be behind the sinuses. And that usually causes a whooshing sound, which can also be present. But if the initial demonstration recommendation I give doesn't work, you need to have a tertiary. You need to go somewhere else and see. There is something else involved. Sometimes we can't find all problems.
No.
Shocking. So in other words, we might not have an answer to this, but I would not leave, if it bothered me, I would leave no stone unturned, and a tertiary place to go that's allowed by your insurance is the way to go if the over-the-counter stuff doesn't work.
Okay, Zorba, we always love getting emails from listeners, and we work hard on this podcast to make sure we're presenting factual, science-based information in an easily digestible format.
Right. You know,
and
something,
you deliver
you could
that.
Be a doctor, I say. But that's really our goal.
Yeah,
totally.
And we do, but now and then, we just need to pat ourselves on the back with a positive affirmation every once in a while, right? The following email came from Steve in Lodi, Wisconsin, who writes, Dr. Zorba, as we both approach the twilight of our lives.
Yes, twilight.
Yep.
Twilight.
You're not in the twilight, are you?
Yeah,
No.
well, I hope it's a long twilight.
It's going to be a
I
long
hope it's
one.
a June 21st twilight and not,
Not
a
like a
December
September,
21st
yeah.
twilight. December 21st, like plop. June 21st is long.
Yeah,
It's
it's a nice
Yeah,
long
near
one.
the equator. That would be real. No, actually, no, up north. But June 21st up north would be really
That'd be
long.
good. Yeah, way
I'm
up
looking
north.
for that.
Like Arctic Circle
Yeah,
twilight?
Arctic Circle twilight,
Okay.
June 21st.
As
Yeah, the sun doesn't set, seeing the Arctic Circle on June 21st. That's what
It's a
I'm
long
looking
life.
for. That's right, long life. That's right.
Okay, thanks, Steve. No, wait, I shouldn't say thanks. Steve says,
You can
as we
always say
approach,
thanks. My mother said, "Always say thanks."
always say thanks.
thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Even
in
if
Lodi.
you're telling somebody off, say thanks first. Thanks. Now let me tell you what I really think.
All right, I got to read Steve's email.
Go ahead.
As we both approach,
I'll let you do it.
Thanks. See, the twilight of our lives.
Your mom would be happy.
I simply want to
Thanks,
say
Mom.
thank you. Oh, look, Steve's saying thank you too now.
It's very nice.
So C says thank you. Although I see my own doc regularly, your practical advice, either previously on Wisconsin Public Radio or in your written articles, has been so beneficial to my life and now past career. Your interpretations of medical science have boiled down the sometimes conflicting recommendations we see.
Right.
Your recommendation of a particular drug for a particular issue, I took to my own doc, which he then endorsed, and it was life-changing, says Steve.
Well, thank you.
Never doubt for a second the positive influence you've had on so many people,
Oh, that's so nice.
such as myself. That's a nice email, Steve.
Oh, that really is a nice email. I mean,
Yeah.
that's that's a heartfelt email. You know,
You
how
get
could you?
get that a lot, that kind of stuff.
I do get a
do.
fair number. They are, and I have to tell you, they're humbling.
Yeah, I
They
bet.
really are. They really are humbling. And actually, that's the reason why I'm still doing this after 35 years, because I think it's important to give people good information that they can use, especially with all the rubbish that's floating around in this day and age. So thank you. Thank you very much. Very, very much thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Have some feedback for Zorba? You can post it on our Facebook page. You can call the show at 608-492-9292, or you can send an
us
email.
an email at askdrzorba@gmail.com. And again, thank you, listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, let's wrap this one up. That was a good one. That was a good show. We talked about the Mediterranean diet
Yes.
and reducing stroke risk
Yes, very
potentially.
important. Very
That's
important.
good.
And we talked about the med diet for years, but once again, it hits home. That is the diet to follow, not the upside down food pyramid.
We heard from Chef Danny.
Yeah.
Chef Danny Calleros.
How great is that?
That
I
was
can't
really
wait to
good.
make
You're gonna
it.
make that, aren't you?
Really good, really tasty, and I'm going to make it at some point and bring it over to Tom and say, Tom, try this. The real issue is, can I get him to put it in his mouth without telling him what it is?
Are you
going to
say it's tofu? Or are you
I
just
don't
going
know.
to say, here's some
I don't
crispy
know what
little
I'm gonna
cube?
say.
Eat
I'm going to
this.
leave it up to what I'm going to do spontaneously at the moment.
All right, stay tuned for that, listeners. We talked about Barrett's esophagus.
Yes.
We talked about sinus issues.
Yes.
And you heard a heartfelt thanks from Stephen Lodi.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
very nice.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to our show, folks.
And don't forget to stay well.